Okay, go ahead, Will. AA6DD, K6YYL.
K6YYL, AA6DD. Very good, Kim. Yeah, we want to discuss distinguishing sporadic from meteors, which both are propagations that happen in the E region of the sky, 100 kilometers up, and are quite effective ways of communicating, especially certain times of the year on 10 and 15 and 6 meters. The basic idea here is the meteors are, of course, little bombardments of meteorites. Some of them are so small, and they happen all the time. They're always falling on the Earth. Literally tons of them are coming down 100% of the time. But we get, big showers where you get big meteors that are big chunks of dirt and ice and such, and are sometimes made out of metal. Well, the metal ones, when they burn in the E region, and the reason they burn in the E region is where they first run into oxygen and can start burning. Well, that creates a very ionized layer that can bend signals all the way up to 2 meters and even 220 at sometimes, ham bands, but can create very effective communications on 10, 15, and 6 meters. Well, the difference is that those actually have showers that happen certain times of the year, though you can't rely on them. You don't know the exact time, but they usually peak. Now, we just had a nice opening on 10 meters yesterday around 11 o'clock, and I called you and told you about it. You got on. We worked a number of stations up in Oregon and Washington on 10 meters. Had a lot of jagged QSB up and down quite rapidly, which is a very positive indicator that it was was meteors and not sporadic E. K6YYL, AA6DD.
Right, AA6DD, K6YYL. Yeah, when I try to tell people, I believe this is meteor scatter, they're like, oh no, I think this is sporadic E. Well, I said, it could be a mix, but the QSB is going, up and down. That's a characteristic of, meteor scatter. And like you said, sporadic E is more steady but rolling, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's how they sound. Now, of course, meteors can come so much out of a big shower that it can sound rolling. In fact, it can sound like F-layer, where it has no variation whatsoever. That it's just super strong and sitting there without any QSB. So meteors can be anything in between, depending on how big the shower is. But normally, they're little pings, and it creates very rapid QSB. Now, there is a certain time of the year that regular sporadic E is more prevalent, and in the wintertime, we can see sporadic E being generated when we get wind shear. And wind shear is when the upper jet stream, the highest part of the upper jet stream, we got a phone here, it's probably just an ad. Yes? When the jet stream normally just like a lazy snake going across Canada, but in the wintertime it can dip way south. And when it dips way south, so much so that it goes vertical along the Rocky Mountains, turns around Mexico City, and then goes back almost vertical across the Appalachian Mountains on the East Coast. When that happens, which is fairly rare, but you can easily be able to generate not only sporadic E, but double hop sporadic E on the, from here to Texas, and then from Texas into, Florida or Georgia or North Carolina or wherever. So that happens once in a while, and that's the main propagation of sporadic E during the wintertime. Otherwise, most of the mainly generated by violent electrical storms. We get very violent electrical storms in the middle of the United States in the summer months, and that shoots ionization all the way up from 6 miles up in the air all the way to 60 miles up, which is the 100 kilometers where sporadic heat exists at, and voila, we get sporadic heat, and that's quite prevalent, and we really enjoy the summer months sporadic heat season on 10, 15, and 6 meters. The other thing is that there's a residual amount of metallic-type meteors, small ones, that start up in May and go through June, July, and into August. So not only do we have the electrical storms help creating sporadic heat, but these little metallic meteors also help generate sporadic heat. So that means the sporadic heat itself is a combination type mode at that point. And of course we just call it sporadic heat, and we don't even talk about the meteor part of it. K6YYL, AA6DD.
Okay, AA6DD, K6YYL, very good. Yeah, because when I tell people, they just don't want to believe that it's meteor scatter. But it's like, okay, whatever, But as long as I get the contact, I'm happy, and I hope they're happy, and but it is nice to kind of have an idea about when it is meteor scatter versus sporadic heat, etc. So it's good to have a description of it, and hopefully we'll get more. Yeah, that one meteor shower already peaked, but still there's residuals and residual meteors, like you said, and you can get those anytime. So we just want the basic goal is make the contacts, however you make it.
Well, meteor showers are usually spread out over many days. They can, they can be as focused as a day or two, but they can be unfocused as much as an entire month. So, because they are distributed over many, many days, both before and after the peak of the meteor shower, they will help generate, and nobody knows what the peaks are. The peaks are quite random when they really happen. You just know the general area that the shower is taking place in. So, for example, yesterday, or the day before, you said you were out, you could see the meteors coming down, and then the next morning, voila, we hear 6 meteor openings that are jagged up and down QSB. Well, that's very positive, ID that particular opening was meteors.
Yes, yeah, and and people, I've heard them, kind of say things that are a little naive. Not many, but I've heard people say, "Oh, well, it's not night, I can't work meteor scatter." It's like, well, wait, meteors are coming down day and night, whether you see them or not. They're doing their business day and night, so it's not just nighttime. You're going to be working these things. You work them anytime there's meteor showers going on up there, regardless of whether the sun is up or not.
Yeah, that's correct. The kitties knocked something over in the other room, so I took a look to see what it was. Absolutely. And that is a problem, because all the stuff you find on the web almost invariably is written by people who are amateur astronomers, which is wonderful, but they're focusing in on when they can see them. So they'll say, oh, well, the peak is this time. Well, that's the visual stuff. Well, that's going to be when the moon is not around and when the sun's not around. And they'll say, oh, well, here's the peak. Well, it's visual peak. The actual peak of how many meteors are burning can be in the middle of the day, but they're not talking about that.
Right. So we've had some really great meteor scatter openings, in the day, and as well as night, and it doesn't make a difference that way. But it's so much fun. I think that meteor scatter is one of my favorite modes of making contacts.
Well, it's quite challenging. You have to have at least 100 watts. You have to have a good antenna up that's radiating efficiently and radiating most of the energy on the horizon. So it needs to be up, 10 meters, 33 feet or so. And if you don't have a beam, it definitely needs to be vertically polarized so you can throw most of the energy on the horizon. And if you do that, and you can keep your noise level down, you can have some nice QSOs. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And yesterday, the main contacts that I was making at this time was Washington and Oregon, and some Northern California. So, but that's always so much fun, and definitely love that.
Okay, Kim. Are there any other questions you can think of at this point that we can pass along, or examples you can think of?
I am trying to think. There might be one more, but I'm not thinking of it at the moment. Yeah, I was able to make 3 contacts yesterday, then I had to go for a bit, but we're always hopeful. And about repeating time, sometimes the meteor showers, will repeat the next day around the same time. So we're always looking for those repeats.
Yeah, there's been controversy for years about that sort of thing. Here we got another ad. Isn't it terrible? Let's find out. Hello?
Okay, so we'll have to go and take a phone call, but we were just going to get into the point of sometimes meteor showers will repeat the next day. So around the same time, if you've made a contact, maybe even try it again the next day, the same time. So anyway, hope you found that enjoyable, and 7312.